Alrighty, hey, and welcome everybody. This is Sherman Ray, and this is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Welcome, folks, to the show. Thank you so much for being a part of it, guys. I'm Sherman Ray. I'm the Nevada Conservative. Today, guys, we've got a really packed show. We're going to talk a lot about Democrat Socialists, guys. I mean, really are. I think it's probably going to be what we're going to be talking about for the next 6 months, and for good reason. It's because these guys have just been running roughshod all over the place. So we're going to talk about the DSA a little bit. We're going to talk about Luigi Mangione. Many of you have heard about him. And then we're going to get back on the DSA because we're really going to spend a lot of time talking about them because they've had some wins, they've had some losses. But you guys have got to be aware of them because we're getting a lot of feedback about these guys. So when we get back, folks, we'll get this show started on the right foot. And we'll talk a little bit about the DSA. The Sherman Ray, the Nevada Conservative Podcast. We'll be right back. Stick around. Alrighty, guys, I am back with Sherman Ray, and this is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Thank you guys for being a part of the broadcast, folks. Heck, I had a little something in my throat there, so I had to get that all cleared out. So welcome, folks, to the show, and I hope that you're really digging it already. We come to you a couple times during the week, and we've been trying to do a lot more in the, in the last number of weeks to be here a little bit more for you. And I want to thank you all for joining us on Facebook, because that's really where you've been really just blowing up on Facebook. And we hope that the same thing happens on our YouTube channel, where you love it some more. Before we get going too much further, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, folks. It's right down there below us over here someplace. Hit that subscribe button, and you can get all updated every time we do one of these broadcasts. So I'm gonna actually pull it up right now. We actually get some great feedback here. We really do. Some really cool questions and answers that we try to get, and I will answer every one of those, guys. Don't doubt me. I will answer you guys. So just go ahead and leave a comment in our little comment section over there, and I've got it up right now. So if you wanted to join us during the show, I'll even try to do it during the show. Okay. Anyways, so let's get this going. So this is very interesting. We during the week mentioned something about the Democrat Socialists of America and how these guys, if they take over, what is going to actually happen, guys? I mean, really, what is going to happen to some of these modern conveniences that we're so used to? And many of you see them. You see modern conveniences all the time. And I think a lot of people believe that everything's just going to be fine. It's just going to be exactly the same. And it's really not, you guys. If the DSA's vision of democratic socialism fully took hold and a large-scale public ownership replaced private enterprise, because that's really the biggest thing, in key industries, the incentives that drive innovation and mass production of consumer goods would be heavily damaged. Because the reason why we have all this stuff is because there's an incentive. When you have a cell phone, when you have TVs, I got more electronic stuff than you can imagine. And the reason why there's so much of this stuff around is because there's an incentive to do it. There's private ownership. These companies own these things, and so they're making a buck. Matter of fact, if you've got a cell phone, it probably costs you $1,000, man. Or if you've got an iPad or something like that, it's cost you. But there's an incentive there, so they make new versions. The iPhone, my first phone. Many of you probably remember your first phone, right? Your first flip phone, or maybe it was like the big brick or something like that. And every 6 months or so, you get a new version. and a new version. Every time a new version, the cost goes up and up and up and up, and and it's really about supply and demand and innovations. Okay, so that is going to be totally changed, guys. I mean, if not reversed, because why would you put a brand new phone together if you can't charge more for it, right? Or if you can't innovate so you can bring the cost down, why even innovate? If the price stays the same, why innovate? And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Cell phones, computers, televisions, video games, streaming platforms, headphones, electric scooters. Some of you, remember there was a time you never even saw an electric scooter. Okay? That came because of capitalism. And the constant upgrades we take for granted are the products of competitive capitalist markets. That's what it's all about. It's competition, man. Every time something new comes out, it's because there's competition out there and people want your bucks. They want your attention. Even shirts, even a simple shirt like this. I'm telling you, just a simple shirt, how many different varieties and different colors, and they're all doing the same thing. They want you to buy it. Under systems that prioritize collective control over profit and private investment, history shows slower technological progress, lower quality, shortages, and restricted access for ordinary people. See, the ordinary people, folks, guys, would be me and you. Now, the rich folks, they'll probably be able to get a new iPhone if they make them. They're going to probably pay an arm and a leg for them, but they'll probably be able to get something. But the regular schmoes like you and I, that ain't going to happen, guys. The iPhone you got, if you got, let's say, Democrat socialists take over in a couple of years, and you got the latest, greatest iPhone, that's probably the latest, greatest you'll ever get. That's it. That's probably the latest, greatest we'll ever get anyways, okay? Just because there's no incentive for these manufacturers to make it. Why would they make it? They can't charge you anymore for it because, people like Zoram and all these other people who think they know more than you, they put a cap on everything. So they're not gonna make any more, and they're not gonna invest in R&D, guys. There are companies that they spend millions upon millions of dollars trying to come up with the latest, greatest thing to get your attention. That's done because they're not going to own the companies anymore. There's no incentive for it. And you don't have to believe everything vanishes overnight. You do have to recognize that the engine producing these modern conveniences gets weaker when the profit motive and private ownership are treated as the enemy. You see, guys, here's the thing about it, is that I know a lot of people don't believe that profit is a good thing, or that greed is a good thing. But in this context, it is. When somebody says, I want to make the greatest thing in the world because I want to make more money than everybody else, they're saying, I want to make more money, so I've got to make the best product there is. Nobody says, I'm going to sell you junk at the highest price I can, because they know that won't last. It just won't last. So what they do is they spend all this time fixating on making the best product they can, putting all this money in it, because they know at the other end of this, they're going to be able to make a buck off it, and a whole lot of money. But the DSA treats all that as the enemy. They say, oh no, all these people, you're just the enemy because you want to make the best product for us and you want to make money off of it. Thinking, dude, I just don't understand that. That is the real risk. And it's not a cartoon slogan, guys. It's not a cartoon slogan that you're probably going to be able to say goodbye to all these modern communities. And I'm telling you right now, you think about Cuba. Okay, Cuba is a great example of what happened when a dictatorship, a socialist, took over the country, and he took over everything. You see those videos of what Cuba looks like, and it looks like a hellhole. And it's because, guess what? Nothing new has happened in 50, 60 years. Not my entire life. Okay, and that's because of socialism. Okay, anyways, let's take a break, folks. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Luigi Mangione. He's the guy that all the girls love, but they probably won't see him for a long time. Okay, we'll be back in just a second. All right, folks, I'm back. I'm Sherman Ray. I'm the Nevada Conservative, and we've got an online presence, guys. I think people would be really impressed. I think they love it. You can go to thenevadaconservative.com and check us out, and it's a fun website where you get all kinds of the latest and greatest stuff. We actually have our videos up there. We've got news articles about what's going on. So I encourage you, go ahead and go to thenevadaconservative.com and you can check us out. And if you like to donate, there's a donate button on there. Go ahead and donate to us, because we've been doing this a long time, guys. And we've been footing the bill for a long time, and boy, we'd love to keep doing this. And we know that you would like us to keep doing this too. So go ahead and donate on that page. So let's go ahead and talk about Luigi Mangione. So many of you know who Luigi Mangione was. He was charged in the December 4th, 2024 shooting death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Midtown Manhattan. Well, he pleaded guilty today. Pleaded guilty to 2 federal stalking charges resulting in death. That doesn't make a lot of sense. A stalking charge resulting in death. That means they should have said he killed the guy. He stalked him and then he shot him. Okay? In court, he stated clearly, "I shot Mr. Thompson in Manhattan and he died." Well, no duh, Luigi. He admitted stalking the executive with the intent to kill him. And I think everybody knew that. Federal prosecutors are seeking life in prison. Sentencing will be set on December 18th. Okay. So this is interesting. So there was more to this. So that's the federal charges, but the state had a reason to charge him also. It says his lawyers are now trying to get the remaining New York State murder charges dismissed on double jeopardy grounds. Evidently, they have a statute that says, guess what? If you were charged and convicted at the federal level, you can't be charged for the same crime at the state level. It's called double jeopardy. The federal murder count has already been thrown out earlier on technical grounds, removing the death penalty from the federal case. This is a significant development in a case that became a flashpoint for anger at the healthcare industry. So here's the thing about it. Luigi Mangione, he's a troubled young man, and his family evidently had some issues with some of their coverage, and he took it into his own hands, and he decided he was going to stalk the CEO of United Healthcare, and he shot him in the back. My gosh. And he was treated like Robin Hood by all these crazy women. They were going, "Oh, it's Luigi." And the women are still out there even after this guy admitted that he's a murderer. Anyways. So let's go back to the DSA. I wanted to let you guys know about, because that's a big topic right there, and it's like Luigi's good. He's in jail. He's probably not going to be treated very well in jail. I can almost guarantee it. So this was a question that we had online that I keep getting over and over and over again, because we answer a lot of questions online about the difference between socialism and democratic socialism or social democracy. So we're going to deal with that, guys, a little more detail. And I know a lot of people are watching this, so please stay tuned for this. This is really good, guys. Okay, this is where the language game matters. Okay, most people can't tell the difference, and that's how the DSA proponents prefer it. These folks over the Democrat Socialists of America, they want to make sure you don't know anything, okay? Now, here's the interesting thing about it is there was a hot mic take of Abdullah Rahman, Mamam, and El Sayed, and one of his lackeys, and they were talking about this, about people not understanding what they're talking about. And the guy's going, oh, that's fine. That's the way we like it, right? Yeah, don't even, no. Let them stay in the dark about this stuff. They want you to not understand what they're talking about. So I'm going to tell you, so folks, you can go ahead and now you'll be smarter, okay, about this whole thing. Some of you still might get it wrong, but guess what? At least we'll have tried to help you. So what is socialism? Socialism, in the classical sense, guys, means public or collective ownership of the means of production, which means they take away the large corporations, okay? Energy industry, automotive maybe, tech industry, that kind of stuff. Those large corporations are owned by the collective. They're owned by the collective, guys. The public or the collective are owned. That's socialism, okay? That does not happen here in America. It is not, that's not in Norway. It doesn't happen in those places, okay? Those are capitalist states, okay, capitalist countries, okay. Private individuals own that stuff, but under socialism, that doesn't happen. Under socialism, the collective owns these big corporations, and they tell you when, where, why, how much, that kind of stuff. Okay. So democratic socialism, as advanced by the Democrat Socialists of America, seeks to move beyond capitalism. Okay, so they don't want capitalism where you own everything, private ownership of things, by placing the largest corporations and essential industries under public or democratic control. So once again, Democrat socialists want to turn things socialist. Okay, they want the public or democratic control is what they're calling it. Okay, but it takes it out of private industry's hand. Okay, now let's get over to what everybody seems to think the Democrat socialists are saying. It's called social democracy. A social democracy, or the Nordic model. Think about it this way: Norway, Finland, Sweden, these places. This is what we're going to be talking about right now. They keep private ownership, so which is capitalism, and competitive markets, which is capitalism. Okay, private ownership, competitive markets, that's capitalism. So can everybody say that? They are capitalists. This is what they are. All these countries are capitalists, while funding a large welfare state through higher taxes. That's the difference. They just tax the crap out of everybody. I think they're 50 some odd %. And people love it. They go, guess what? You're a Finn, I'm a Swede. They're all kind of the same kind of people. They trust each other. There's only a couple of million of them. They dig it, okay? In America, that will not work, guys. It just will not work. There's certain parts of it that might work, but as an overarching thing, you are not going to get Apple to give up 55% of its profits, so in taxes, so they can fund these healthcare issues or something like that. Okay, Nordic countries are not socialists. I'm going to say it again. They are not socialists. Their own leaders are repeatedly say so. Confusing these terms lets advocates sell a more radical project while pointing to the results of a different system. Democrat socialists are making you believe that they're selling you Sweden, and that ain't the same thing, guys. In Sweden, it is still capitalist. Democrat socialists don't want capitalism, but they keep telling you that's what they're selling you, and they're doing it because it's a big con job, guys. All right, we've got a little bit early on this, okay? But it's not the same thing, okay? So let's do a real quick job. Or a quick break. We're gonna finish up by talking to you about the big con job that the DSA is actually they're pulling the wool over everybody's head, over your head. So when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more. Is this DSA thing a big con job? We'll be right back. Boy, we are getting so much in today. I was surprised. Oh my gosh, this is great. All right. Hey, this is Sherman Ray. This is the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Thank you guys for being a part of the broadcast today, guys. Hey, and I want to encourage you. I know we're getting a lot of people listening to the broadcast, and a lot more people are listening to our shorts too, because we do a lot of shorts throughout the week. Literally thousands upon thousands of people are engaging with us, and in the month of July, we had over 1 million people. 1 million people. My gosh, that really just we're digging what we're doing, and I'm humbled, folks. I am just so humbled. Thank you so much for trusting us, I guess. And we had a lot of people who were just pissed off at me completely, but that's all right, because they're upset because I'm like a dentist and I'm pulling a tooth that's bad, and they don't like it. Okay, but it's got to be pulled, guys. I'm a dentist. That's what I do. No, I'm not a dentist. You know what I mean? I think some of you guys get what I mean. All right. So anyways, let's talk. In this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about the DSA. And in the last segment, we talked about and we defined what socialism is, democratic socialism, a social democracy, as opposed to a capitalist thing. Okay. And I don't want to be boring about this, guys. I'm trying to make this as entertaining as I can, but sometimes you just got to define things, because a lot of people just have no idea. I mean, I had a guy come on, he goes, FDR was a democratic socialist. And he said, and that's why we have some of these social programs. And he said that the same thing about LBJ. And I go, you have no idea what you're talking about, dude. Democratic socialism didn't even start until after those guys were long gone. Okay, it just, anyways. They're just talking out of their butts. So in this one, we're going to talk about the con job that we see happening because of what the Democrat socialists are not telling you. Okay, most Americans who hear the term democratic socialism picture something like Norway or Sweden. They picture high taxes, strong safety nets, still basically capitalist. Okay. So they're thinking about it's Norway. They figure you're going to have wooden shoes on and stuff like that, and it's going to be all cool. But that's not what the DSA platform actually aims for. It is not what they want, and it's not even close what they want, okay? If voters clearly understood the difference between taxing and regulating private enterprise versus taking those industries into public ownership, support would drop off sharply. Okay? If people knew that they were going to actually take Exxon, that they were going to take Apple, that they were going to take all these companies, and now they're going to put them under public ownership, they would go, what? You mean, the folks who actually have been running these companies don't own these companies anymore? No, they don't. They're under public. The public owns them now, and the public can tell you how much something costs, how much it doesn't cost, But eventually, here's what the problem is, folks. And then some people go, yeah, that's great. We own everything, and now I don't have to pay that much. Okay. There's trade-offs to everything, guys. There's trade-offs to everything. Once a company goes into ownership and it's taken out of public hands, the incentive that keeps that company going is gone. There's no incentive for that company to grow anymore or to even exist anymore because there's no profit margin. Okay, and if you keep saying, okay, I want this phone for $10, okay, that only lasts for about a year. And that's exactly what's going to happen, guys. Because there has to be a profit made in there because somebody's got to get paid. You and I got to get paid if we work for that company, right? And if they don't charge enough, you and I ain't going to get paid. Plus, I got to charge enough for the next iteration of this phone, okay? That's just kind of the way it is, guys. And it's something we all understand. When I went to the Raiders game last night here in Las Vegas, and we watched these people, and that's what came to my mind. I was thinking, they charge an arm and a leg to go to these Raider games. But all that charging, all this money they charge, they probably have about 5,000 people who work this game that you don't see and you don't think about, that are all dependent upon that ticket price that you pay. All of the gear. Oh, do I still have? No, I don't. It's not close to me. But I got a little flag, you know. Somebody had to make that, and they sold it to the Raiders, okay? And so all that money goes all over the place. Okay, so now, and why do they do all that stuff? It's so that you'll buy a ticket to that game. It's capitalism. But if there's no profit anymore, some of that stuff's gone, you guys. It's just going to be gone. So we've got to start thinking about this thing, okay? If voters clearly understood the difference between, as we said, private ownership and public ownership, support would drop off significantly. It's the deliberate blurring of Nordic success with a more transformative agenda. This isn't accidental. It's effective politics, and it's misleading. What I mean by that is the reason why the Democratic Socialists allow you to believe what they're talking about is the Nordic model is because they know that once you find out that there's a major flaw in their theory here, they're not going to vote for you. There's no way. So they let you believe what you believe. And they're not going to try to tell you any different. No, because they want your votes. That's misleading. That's a con job, guys. And if they would do that on that level, guys, what else do you think these folks would do? They would sell you the moon because they want to just get into office. The Democrats did the exact same thing when they let all these people come across the border over the 4 years of Biden. The reason why they did that, guys, was for one reason: votes. They could care less about those people. They didn't want to say, oh, those are just poor folks. They're just the one. They could give a flying fig about Mexicans. Okay? All they cared about was staying in power. That's all they cared about, guys. So don't let them fool you guys, okay? You know what? I've got one more segment I want to talk about, okay? So let's do real quick. We're going to take a really super quick break, guys. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the Democrat Party, and we'll end the show that way, okay? This is Sherman Ray, the Nevada Conservative. We'll be back, folks. All right, folks, we are back. Hey, this last segment, I really want to squeeze this in, you guys. I know it's the end of the week, and we're really actually going to run over time. We're going to run over just a couple minutes, guys, okay? This all goes back to the Democrat Party, guys. It really does. Over the weekend, this last week, there was an election, August 11th, and it was the Wisconsin governor's race. And Francesca Hong, on the Democrat side, lost to a guy named David Crowley. And Francesca Hong was the DSA candidate, and David Crowley was the Democrat guy. So we're talking about the Democrat side. And actually, David Crowley beat her by like less than 1%, but he beat her. And you say to yourself, man, that's a great thing for the Democrat Party. Woohoo! They staved off, a complete sweep across the Midwest and the East Coast, and now it looks like the Democrat Socialists are just running roughshod over the Democrat Party. It was an extremely close race and a clear setback for the Socialist wing in the critical. But does this mean that the Democratic Party, or the Democrat Party, has been saved? Okay, does that what this actually means? No, not necessarily, guys. The left wing remains highly organized. Okay, the DSA, highly organized. They've scored other wins and continue to pull the party leftward. Crowley's narrow victory shows establishment Democrats can still hold the line in some places, but the pressure from the DSAs, their faction, is real and ongoing. Whether the party can contain that faction or is gradually being taken over remains an urgent question. And this is what I'm thinking here, folks. We've got a lot of people who are defecting from the Democrat Party, a lot of them. And they just had a guy who's one of the writers from, he put in an article, I believe, in the New York Post, and he's been a stalwart. You've got a lot of Democrats who are saying, I'm done. If this is what's going to happen, and we continue to have these DSA people be leadership in the Democrat Party, we are done. And here, guess what? This is the thing about it, guys. The Democrat Socialists of America, they don't care. They could care less, because all they're doing this for, guys, is to try to get legitimacy. That's all they're doing this for. You read in some of their writings, and that's really all they're saying, is we're going to use the Democrat Party to get legitimate, and then they're going to toss the Democrat Party to the side. So what the Democrat Party should have done, what I told them to do probably over a month ago, they should have cut ties with them completely. Do not allow them to use your base. Don't allow them to use your funding. Don't allow them to use their anything. But the problem is, the Democrats were just the hubris. I think they thought they were too good. We're just too good, and we won't be taken over by these little hayseed kids. And now these hayseed kids are kicking their butt, man. Not only kicking their butt, but they're beating them so bad that Hakeem Jeffries, you don't even hear his name, do you? You never even hear his name. Why? He's run scared. Chuck Schumer, you don't hear one word from these guys. Nancy Pelosi, not a word from that old woman. Why? And you haven't heard from Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton. None of these folks are saying anything about the DSA because they are afraid to even wake up. So the only time will tell. But the one thing that we do know, guys, is the Republican Party is still chugging along. Okay, what we need to do as Republicans, guys, as conservatives, is to coalesce around the Make America Great mantra and that policy of making America the greatest thing that we can possibly make. Free enterprise, low prices, deregulation, safe borders, and that's really what that is our saving grace, guys. God, guns, that's our whole thing, right? And we need to continue to fight for freedom. Okay. Anyways, this has been Sherman Ray for the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Thank you guys once again so much for being a part of the broadcast. Check us out online, guys. Check us out on all the Rumble, True Social, our website at thenevadaconservative.com, Facebook, YouTube, all this stuff. Instagram. Don't forget Instagram. Or we are this podcast right here. If you want to just hear my dulcet tones, you just like to hear my voice, you can pick this up on Spotify. Okay, and on X, guys. I love X. I'm on there all the time. Anyways, it's been Sherman Ray for the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Thank you once again for being a part of the broadcast, folks. We will see you again Monday for more of the Nevada Conservative Podcast. Peace out, y'all. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.